Hey guys, I hope you're well and having a really good week so far. I just want to take a couple of moments just to talk a little bit about an announcement that we made last Sunday evening at the Church Together meeting. And it's just in regards to something really exciting that I know the church has been praying about long before I came. In fact, it was one of the things that we talked about when I was being interviewed for the role of pastor. And that was looking at the name of New Forest Community Church. And the reason that we felt that the trustees and the leaders felt that it was time to look at the name was the fact that when it comes to the New Forest is obviously a very wide area, a large area, and to actually say that we're New Forest Community Church. One of the things was that it wasn't necessarily a name that really replicated or said exactly where we were. We're actually quite on the outskirts of the New Forest in Marchwood and outside, obviously, the New Forest National Park boundaries. And so one of the things that came up was that the name could be a little bit confusing, especially if you're the other side of the New Forest. We don't really, it would be very difficult for people to come to us from, say, Ringwood or further afield, Fording Bridge, for example. And so the thought was to have a name that we were able to use that represented where we were and what we were about. It was the first thing. The second thing, where we called ourselves New Forest Community Church, there was a number of other community churches in the New Forest. For example, you've got the Lighthouse Community Church. You've also got a community church just outside of Ringwood as well. So there's a number of churches that are now community churches, and we didn't want to almost feel like we were the overarching New Forest Community Church and the others were subsections. That's really not what we're about, and that's not obviously the reality of the situation. I know for years that has kind of has been the thought process of the leaders and trustees, and I know a number of conversations have taken place. But one of the things that was very difficult was just to try and find the name that really said who we were as a church and where we're going. I believe names are really important, and if you look biblically, God a number of times changes names based on the vision that he has for the people who are involved. So you've got Abraham turning to Abraham, you've got Saul turning to Paul. There's a number of times where God looks and says, actually, I need a name that replicates the vision that I've placed upon your life and placed upon your heart. And there's something incredibly powerful about a name. And so I know there's been a lot of problems trying to find the right name and trying to get the right balance and everything else. And names are really tricky. And so I know that's one of the stumbling blocks of the process has been. However, we again approached the name. We've been talking about it for a number of months, certainly within the oversight meeting that we've been having. And one of the names that came up, there was a few names that came up, and it was hummed and hard and yes and no'd, but didn't really didn't really feel right. And then one name Tony brought to the table, just literally at the end of a meeting, was how about Gateway? Gateway Community Church. And we kind of looked at that and we thought about it and we hummed and hard about it. We went away, had another think about it, and came back. But actually, it just felt really great. It felt like it was a God thing. It felt like it was a godly name. Gateway represents very much the heart of who we are as a church. We want to be a gateway for people to come in to have a relationship with God. We want to be a gateway for people to come and have lives that are changed and transformed and purposed in God. It kind of fits with the vision that we feel God has given us for this area and beyond. And so we really felt that Gateway was a name that represented the vision and the heart behind us as a church, Gateway Community Church. We then took that to the trustees and had another meeting with the trustees, and they went away and had a think about it and a pray about it, and they came back unanimously and said, actually, we think this is the right thing. We think this is the right name. While all of that's taking place, Dawn is looking at a prophecy that was given at a Salt and Light event to our church before I came. And it was really about who the next pastors are going to be. And there's a couple of extracts from that some of you may be aware of. One was that the pastor wouldn't come through the normal channels, but would come through a tap on the shoulder, which is very much what took place when I contacted Tony. But But within that prophecy, there was another part, and the prophecy said this, that God was going to make the church a gateway for the New Forest, a gateway for people to come into a relationship with him. And we were unaware of the word gateway within that prophecy. But once we'd kind of looked at gateway and looked at that choice, and then Dawn came and said, look, you're not going to believe this. I've gone through the prophecy again. And the word gateway, when it comes to our heart and our vision and what God's wanting to do, is absolutely right in the centre of it all. And so for us, that was kind of God's confirmation, saying, you know what, this is something that is right. This is the right name, the gateway Community Church. Jesus is the gateway. He's the way, the truth, and the life. And we want to be a church that represents Jesus into our community. So just to give you a bit of a background, if you weren't able to come on Sunday night, just so that you can see our thought processes behind the name. Off the back of that, we're going to look at rebranding, the website, all the different things that we've really needed to do for quite a while, but we've kind of put on hold because we knew that the name was something that everyone was looking at. And so I didn't want to move forward with that until we'd really sorted and nailed down what name we're going to call ourselves. And then all the branding and everything else that comes out of that, all of our digital thoughts, digital things that we're going to be putting in place, strategy, will all be birthed out of the name. So now we've got the name in place, that gives us an opportunity now to look at all of the branding and the website and all the things that we kind of need to do, as well as social media, in order to kind of really promote who we are in God, and also promote the love that God has for our community. So much of our community is online. It is the place to build community in the modern age, and so we want to be a part of sharing God's love and God's acceptance through those channels, as well as the more traditional channels as well. Okay guys, that's it. Have a fantastic rest of the week and look forward to seeing you Sunday, baptism services. Take care. Bless you.